What up and welcome back. Tier 1 Golden Era podcast. We're ranking the top 50 players, tiers 1 through 5. We are tier 1. These are the single-handed contenders. Number 7, Jonathan Kuminga. Gets my edge over Amari Swift. Yes, Amari Swift, All-NBA first team last season. Jonathan Kuminga was not. I think that's in large part due to the fact that Kuminga doesn't get the opportunities that Swift does, as he's basically the number 3 option on a team that has 3 guys in the top 7. The run for Kuminga as a top 7 guy, he's been 6th last season, he was 6th the year before that, was really the year in which Jevon Rolle got hurt, and he was just 50-point triple-double, 60-point games in the playoffs. Kuminga does that, man. Kuminga is that guy. When the Warriors have unleashed him, he has been unleashed. He led the league in double-doubles. He gets it done on the offensive end, and he averages 20-plus points, 50, 40, 90 type of guy, 50, 40, like 83-ish from the free throw line. And he doesn't even do it with a full workload. That's how dominant Jonathan Kuminga is. If you put him on any other team, Kuminga is 28, 8, and 7. I think you could reasonably make that argument. He is that good. He was, for a 6-7 year stretch, the best forward in basketball. He's not anymore, but he's still half a step below that at 30 years old, that he's still absolutely dominant. At number 6, Deontay Dixon. He makes a huge leap from tier 4 last season. 30 points last season, triple-double threat, 8 assists. Cleaves is obviously higher ranked than him. Cleaves is going to be our highest ranked forward. But Deontay Dixon is the most athletic player for his position in the NBA. Yes, Robert Mack is elite, but Deontay Dixon physically changes the game. And when the Warriors can throw out both Dixon and Kuminga, the 3 and the 4, it's a cheat code. Dixon is everything. As the Warriors project this thing long term, Jevon Rolle's 29, Kuminga's 30, Deontay Dixon's 22. The future of the Warriors is on the shoulders of Deontay Dixon. He is, for the next decade, as we look out, it's going to be Deontay Dixon, Darius Dixon, and Jacoby Cleaves. Those 3 guys are going to be the face of this league. Amari Swift as well. There's not a thing on the court that Deontay Dixon can't do. He can shoot from 40% from 3. That was the one knock on him when he entered the league. Would he be able to do that? Yes, he can. He's an elite playmaker. He's an elite defender, 1 through 5. You can comfortably put him up against a center and feel confident that he's going to get it done. At number 5, his twin brother, Darius Dixon. Darius was probably the MVP last season until he had suffered an ankle injury, a sprained ankle, late in the season, missed the final 6 weeks. Prior to that, he was the NBA MVP. He's going to be at that level. He's also 22, obviously, Deontay Dixon's twin brother. The Jazz are in the position they are because Darius Dixon is phenomenal. If you look at Dixon from a comp, I don't know that there's a great one. He's a Michael Jordan type scorer, led the league, or capable of leading the league last season, led it for points. So he's a Michael Jordan type scorer. He's a Gary Payton type defender. He's a good, not great playmaker. He's not quite as good as Deontay Dixon, but anything that Darius Dixon can't do is probably defend a center. That's it. He is that dominant of a basketball player. Number 4, this one maybe should be flipped, but I'm going to keep it there. Trey Hunter. Last season, he was number 3 overall. Trey Hunter is a phenomenal three-point shooter. He's the Steph Curry of this generation, where he's mediocre is at defense, but even there, he holds his own. The Magic, it was a tough NBA Finals last season, but don't let last season's NBA Finals confuse you or let you forget about how incredible he was in that 6-game loss the year before to the Warriors. Trey Hunter was the second best player on the basketball court, behind only Jevon Rolle. That's it. So Trey Hunter puts the Magic as an instant contender alone. You put him on any other team, and the Magic have surrounded him with the exact perfect clientele, right? Two-way wing in Jason Tatum, a scorer at the other guard position in Jalen Green. Trey Hunter is everything that you need from your number 1 guy. At number 3, and this was a guy that owned the number 1 spot, he actually had it for 2 consecutive years before getting unseated, and he actually drops 1 spot. It's Jalen Justice. Health is one concern, right? Sprains his ankle in the conference semifinals in the loss to Brooklyn. He had a back injury that sidelined him. If he is healthy, though, Jalen Justice is the best player in basketball from a talent perspective. Next comes the wins, and Toronto made the big move. They had a great season last year. We were supposed to get Toronto Golden State. That's what we needed in the NBA Finals, and we got deprived of that. Jalen Justice, he's number 3, but if I have to be honest, if I really have to start a team from scratch, Jalen Justice is the guy I'm taking, and that's over the guy that's ahead of him. Obviously, Jacoby Cleaves is one of our top 2. Jalen Justice is still that guy. He is in a guard class that is elite. He's probably the best, and I know I have him at 3, but that's primarily due to postseason success over the last handful of seasons, because he's obviously behind Jevon Rolle. But from a talent level, it's not a question. Jalen Justice is the best player in basketball. It's a matter of consistently getting wins, and that's why Justice is at 3. And number 2 is Jacoby Cleaves. I'm going to take Jevon Rolle at number 1, obviously. Jevon Rolle, let's start with Cleaves. NBA MVP. Elite forward. There aren't any things in his game that he doesn't do phenomenally well. The one knock right now is he can't get past the Warriors. But spoiler alert, well, not spoiler alert, newsflash, for the last 3 years, nobody has gotten past the Golden State Warriors. So Cleaves is everything about the future of the NBA. 24 years old, he's signed, locked into Phoenix. He grew up, he went to Arizona State. This is a homegrown product. Jacoby Cleaves is the best forward in basketball. I'll hear the argument for Dixon. Kuminga and Swift are half a step behind, but Cleaves is everything. So long as Cleaves is on your roster, as is evident by all 7 of these guys in Tier 1, you're a championship team. I don't have a nitpick on Cleaves. He could, just like Deontay Dixon, he can defend. He's proven to be the number 1 guy. I think Deontay Dixon could be. You can find people that would make the case that Deontay Dixon is the number 1 guy in Golden State, but no forward is the bona fide, no questions asked number 1 guy in the way that Jacoby Cleaves is. Then he also has the fourth quarter takeovers against San Antonio, a really tough series. He just dominated Mateo Delgado in the fourth quarter. Anytime that he needed a bucket, he's getting it. And that's what separates Cleaves from the rest of the guard crop or forward crop. And then Jevon Rolle's number 1 because he wins. I mean, there's not a thing on his list, on Jevon Rolle's resume, that you look at and you can't say, okay, that makes sense, that he's the number 1 guy. He's got a 70-point game in the NBA Finals. He averaged 50 points in the NBA Finals. He's got back-to-back MVPs. He's been the best player on a 76-win championship team. He does everything. From a talent perspective, he's probably the 3rd best player. I would probably, from a talent perspective, take obviously Jalen Justice, and I'd probably put Jacoby Cleaves over him. But Jevon Rolle changes the league in a way that few guys before him. This century, the only guys that have changed the league or impacted the league in the way that Jevon Rolle has is LeBron James and Stephen Curry. That's it. Jevon Rolle is next. You look at what he's done. He's reignited a dynasty in Golden State that we thought was dead. Steph Curry leaves. That was the last championship. That was that 4th championship in that 6-year window where kind of the league was wide open. They get that emotionally motivated title. The Warriors were kind of in no man's land since that point. Jevon Rolle has been the piece that's pulled them out of it. There's not a thing from a guard position that he doesn't do elite outside of athleticism, and that's not something that you can just naturally get better at, obviously. So Jevon Rolle's my number 1. He's been the number 1 guy for the last 3 years. He's won 3 straight MVPs, or finals MVPs. He's got multiple NBA MVPs. Until they don't win, until he's not the best player on a championship team, Jevon Rolle is my number 1. So, top 7, Jevon Rolle, Jacoby Cleaves, Jalen Justice, Trey Hunter, Darius Dixon, Deontay Dixon, Jonathan Kuminga. All right, that is our top 50 players. All of them are available on OS in ranking forms if you want to refer back to them. We've got one teams preview coming up next. We got a season preview after that. And then it's basketball time, baby. Thank you for tuning in.